Today's little sermon is about getting ridiculously creative with your capacity to just teach more. That was my intention at the beginning of 2023 is just like, I want to step into my teacherhood. I've been leveraging a lot of people's work through my services at Magic Media over the last 4 or 5 years. And I kind of put myself as the teacher more to the back of the bus. I was still doing it, but I wasn't fully stepped into teaching all the time. And this year I made an effort to tour my signature workshop. That's gone amazing. I've got my flagship training coming up, and it's just been one of the pieces. So the other day I sat and I was like, I want to be teaching more than I am right now. So I came up with 4 new workshop ideas. And this was like one of the this is like the permission slip for everybody. It's like, yeah, you're going to develop these bigger courses that are more expensive, but what about the small courses that only, are 2 hour commitments for people that they can pay you $100 or $150 to come out and learn something and go into a deep dive, or a 3 hour workshop that you can do once a month that if you want to do it. And this is one of the things, like, my business without social media was a complete fluke. I had no idea that it was going to be as popular as it is. And so the more you give yourself the opportunities to teach to live audiences, the more you're going to see what people are really resonating with and what they're willing to pay money for. And so um, I would suggest, and we're going to take 3 minutes right now of like, come up with as many ideas for workshops you could teach. I've got one I'm going to do before the end of the year. I've got another one I'm going to teach at the beginning of the year around getting your shit together to start 2024. We've got the flagship training. I'm working on transforming your life's work into a work of art as a new signature workshop I'll tour next year. And so I just started like coming up with these ideas, mapping out, well, what would I teach in this workshop? What would the curriculum look like? And then within 30 minutes, I had the outline for 4 different workshops. It did not take long at all. And we all have so many other things that we could be teaching, could be sharing. And so why wait, every 3, 4 months to teach these big courses? Why not just like start teaching more often and putting more opportunities out? If you get 5 people to come pay you $100 or $50 or 75 or whatever it is for these workshops, it's better than nothing. And it's building something. It's building a library of assets that you can leverage inside the scope of a membership space or that you can resell and repackage. It's also just putting you on the map with the audience that is listening to be paying attention, be like, oh shit, you're teaching all the time. I don't want to come to this workshop, but if you come up with another workshop, then I'll come to that one. And one of the things about doing these workshops is, like, as you all saw with the signature workshop training I did, is you don't have to be talking and teaching the whole time. You could come up with a concept, you can guide, do some tutorials, you can give people space to do reflection, to do their own work inside the session. Like, there's a lot of ways to facilitate that don't require you to plan 2 hours worth of or 3 hours worth of actual content curriculum. So that is the invitation, is what could you be teaching? What workshop ideas could you come up with that you could set yourself up for the next 6 months and have some like smaller workshops that you're selling as you're touring your signature workshop that your audience can be looking forward to, that when people go to your website, they can see it's like, oh, you got a whole bunch of things that are coming up. Which ones do I want to come to? And that they're lower entry so that people can spend less on these lower entry things to decide if they want to come on the higher end things, experiences with you. And eventually, if you keep doing this, you're going to have an amazing archive of courses and trainings that you can be offering inside the scope of a membership. It's just like, we're here to teach. All of us are here to teach. Let's be teachers. How do you teach? How do you become a better teacher? You're just teaching all the time. So I would say the permission slip for the rest of this year is like, map out your 2024 and just go gangbusters and teach all the time next year. Just give yourself as many opportunities to teach as you possibly can. And I think that will be one of the biggest difference makers you could possibly have in your business with your life's work, to just like accelerate the levels of success you're able to access, is just get yourself in front of people teaching. And that's going to be the magic sauce. It's that easy. And you have these templates for your signature workshop landing page. Once you have your landing page templates, it's easy to duplicate and just recreate a similar landing page. So that's my advice. Let's take 3 minutes right now and come up with workshop ideas that you could act on. I'm going to set my timer, take 3 minutes, and see how many ideas you could come up with for workshops you could be teaching in 2024, or even this year if you want to do a year-end one. Timer set. On your mark, get set, go. Okay, I'm going to pause right now. So 3 minutes, all these ideas just came. And the next step would be to take another 5 to 10 minutes and map out a point form list of what the curriculum would be for each of those trainings. What would you teach in each of those trainings? Would you, what are the main lessons? What are the philosophies behind those lessons? What result would people walk away with when they come to this workshop? And the idea is like less is more. So if you're teaching short workshops that are hour, 2 hour, 3 hours long, it's like they're walking away with a really specific, tangible result. You're not trying to give them everything under the moon. It's just like, here's the goods that you're getting. You're either in or out. And one thing that if you all sit with this longer and you have a whole bunch of ideas, you could survey your list, use a Google form or SurveyMonkey or something like that. Send out a survey of like, I'm thinking about teaching these workshops. Give a check mark beside the workshops you might be interested in. Have like the name with a short description of what that workshop would entail, and let your audience let you know. And then the next step, which in one of my workshops we're going to be doing coming up, is plan out your year. Create the space for all of these different workshops. Because it doesn't take long to make a landing page now that you've built your signature workshop landing page. Making a landing page is easy. Setting up all the tech is pretty easy. Doesn't take long. And then just keep booking yourself in to be teaching more and more and more and more. and keep coming up with ideas, and then don't overthink it. Just book it. For example, they're not all gonna succeed. Like I had my we did a full I guess 9 months of writing, producing, and editing our comedy commercials. So I was deep in the comedy process. I launched the course to produce your first comedy commercial. Nobody signed up. I was like, okay, I'm not going to teach that one. But I built the landing page. I designed the curriculum. I was like, I bet you more people will be bought in on this idea after we launch our comedy ads next February until the end of March. And so I've rebooked it for next May. So I'm going to try and teach it again next May after we can be like, hey, look, we had X million views through these comedy ads, and this is how much we spent, and this is how much revenue that generated. Once we have a case study of ourselves, people will be more likely to do it. So you're going to come up with ideas, and you're going to spend a few hours making a landing page and designing the curriculum and stuff, and you're going to sell it, and sometimes they will flop. It doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It just means either the messaging wasn't right, the timing wasn't right, your audience wasn't into it, which means you need to just keep growing your audience. And just now you've got that landing page that you can try selling it again in 6 months or 12 months. And it doesn't really matter if nobody buys. And if only a few people purchase what you're doing, great, show up and teach. You can still leverage that asset. You could send the recording out to your audience afterwards and be like, hey, I just did this training live. It's now half price if you want to buy the recorded version and get all the templates. Easy peasy. You still show up. You still have a leverageable asset that you can still be selling. So the moral of the story is in 2024, be teaching all the time. Give yourself as many opportunities to show up and teach as you possibly can, because that's how you create the world and the life that you're trying to create, is just to be putting on that teacher hat as often as possible. The end and the beginning.